Massive number of people have been upgrading. Yes,
there you go. You see the graceful limb that you were talking about before.
The race we've got yet again, and a victor then goes victory to an American, Andy Hampton.
The felt it go by. He looks at the Colombian rider. How are you doing?
Straight past Santiago Botero, and he's coming up to Pantani.
Armstrong is sitting in the last few hundred metres as we come towards the finish of this monumental stage. And Armstrong,
as we start to approach the line now, Pantani grits his teeth and accelerates and over the line.
Is going now to win stage number 15. Sepp Kuss, an emotional finish from Durango in the USA. Sepp Kuss wins.
Welcome, everybody. Between Two Wheels podcast. This is Tyler Yonke. We're gonna do a little Tour de France stuff. It started up today, and we're gonna walk our way through it. We're gonna do the goal. This never can work out quite right, and I hope everyone. I saw Victor in the chat. Tyler Yonke is live. Yes, I am. Victor's in the chat. Welcome back, buddy. We also have, why is this not displaying on my thing? Sorry, I'll get it worked out. We also had Jordan in here. He said, but Tyler, how does this get you back in the saddle? I rode my bike today. It's the first time in a while. I've been playing golf. My kids are into doing that, so I've been doing that. But I got back on the bike today. I've been playing pickleball too. So the golf is fun, the pickleball is fun, but it is good to ride my bike. And I'm especially glad to be doing that. You know what, let me see if I can, whoops, that didn't work out. I was trying to see if I could bring up the chat so I can at least display some of that online. Hang on, folks. We'll get this here. There we go. So I think we can possibly, we got this one. It's not showing that there. Let's change it. You guys are working with me. You're like, oh, this is not a beautiful. There we go. Okay, so there we go. We'll at least be able to display some of the chat going on there. Now I want to talk a few things about the tour real quick here. Tour de France. I've watched some prediction shows. I've watched some analysis shows. We do the Tour de France Peacock in the U.S. They are now, I guess, having Lance Armstrong, his We Do show, The Move, afterwards. Spare me. That is you get a little bit of cycling mixed in with just a bunch of advertising. Now, I'm a capitalist fully, and make your money, but you also have to do it in a way that doesn't just like turn, for me, it just turns me off all the time. So I would prefer a method, and you have this with a bunch of, big podcasts where you maybe have, subscription based and they are helping you out, rather than depending so much on the sponsor, because it's just overloads. I have a video where it's a 30 or 40 minute show, and it's just so much ads that I took from. Anyway, so he's doing that. Peacock is unwatchable in general. Now, it's unlistenable. Here's how I do it, and I'm going to be changing this up. So we have a bunch of different options for watching it here. Peacock, they have Phil and Paul. No, Paul's passed, God rest his soul. Phil Liggett and Bob Roll. Oh my God, I can't get Sherwin out of my head. Phil Liggett and Bob Roll do the commentating, and it's just awful. And then in studio, you have Birnbauer and you got the other two guys, TJ and Gardner, and it's okay. Brooke Bookwalter, he's pretty good. So then your other options are like SBS in Australia. You can do a VPN and get those. There's Pirate Feed, but they haven't been showing the Eurosport. So I'm going to be doing Flow Bike. So I'll put on the TV, I'll do Peacock, and then I'll get Flow, and I'll time it up right so I can listen to commentary that is not excruciating. And as far as analysis go, Lantern Rouge cycling podcast, I listen to them. I also listen to Chris Horner, and I tried to listen to today to Johan Brunel and Bradley Wiggins, and it's once again, it's just too much ads going in there. Cycling Dane is another good one. So there's other ones out there, and then there's me. So then we have me in here trying to do some stuff as well, and you're like, Tyler, get to it. Yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Just thought I'd bring you up to par, up to speed on all this. Okay, so Geraint Thomas and Luke Rowe, they had a preview show, and so I went over it, and it's interesting because I listened to it today after the stage, which isn't always fair to them. Predictions are what they are, but it is fascinating. Even someone in the peloton that I think gets things completely wrong. And I think what happens is when you're, Geraint Thomas, you're not tuned into everything. And I think possibly a manager, director would have a little bit better understanding. As an example, he's like, there's 3 sprinters, there's Merlier, there's Jonathan Milan, and then there's Jesper Philipsen. He's like, Jesper's at the bottom of the barrel of those. And I'm like, what? I mean, even if you watch the Netflix documentary, which I did, and I'm glad they're not doing it anymore, because while it has so much potential, it's frustrating when you watch it. As an example, this year, Jesper Philipsen is trying to get a win, and they're showing him, and he's all frustrated, and then they don't go back to it, and it's like he got three I think he got 3 victories last year. So it made it look like he never got any, and he's just a big baby, and maybe he is a big baby, but I think in the last 2 years he's had he had a 4 and then a 3, so 7. I think that's what it is. I could be a little bit off on that. Maybe we'll take a look at that. Anyway, so there's some of that, and then you're like, and then Geraint Thomas did another breakdown of a 2018 Sky Team comparison with the 2025 Jumbo Visma team, and he gave who he would pick, and we're going to actually watch that video. And I don't think that's fair to do until this race is over. If you wanted to do as soon as the race is over, you can maybe see how these different riders did and if they're worthy. Otherwise, you're just kind of coming into it and you're like, oh, this guy maybe not, and we'll walk our way through that as well. Which team has the best gear? Which gear should we get on? Let's go here. I think we got that in the chat. That's from Jordan. Look, I'm not going to break down what each team has at this point, because each team, and by the way, they have the best stuff out there. Now, there are teams, and I heard this on the Netflix documentary, which is Team UAE, Tadej Pogacar. He won last year. That the starting 8 of the Tour last year for his team, this is what Jonathan Vaughter said of EF Education. He said that the EF Education's entire budget for the entire team, all the operations, all staff and everything, is less than those 8 riders for the UAE team. That is fascinating. And if that's true, what the point I'm getting at is here, when you have teams in a budget that's like this, you can do extra things, right? You can make sure you're on the best bikes. Because believe it or not, even though all bikes, they're all very good, the top line, but there are some that are just not quite like the others. And you don't want to be, a superstar riding a bike that could be a tad bit on the heavy side or just not responsive the way you want, but you're forced to because of, whatever the obligations are. Okay, let's get into it for today. What I wanted to take a look at is, there we go. So here's the profile for today. It's starting up at the northeast portion of France, close to Belgium up there. It's Flanders area, not Ned, but the racing up there. So that's, there's a few little kickers. There's a Cat 4, and another Cat 4. So you got a few points along the way. For the climbers jersey, whatnot. But overall, you're expecting this race here to come down to a sprint. You're expecting it to be, the general classification riders, the big guys that are going to win it overall, they're going to be held back a little bit, and they're going to be sitting there hoping, because what happens when you see the Tour de France and it's the first stage or two, first week, everybody that's coming in there is the top fitness that they could possibly, typically, right? You're only going to take the top guys that are as fit as they can, for your whole team. You may have 20 some riders on a team, but you're only bringing 8 to this race. And this is the biggest race of the year. So everyone's peaked for this. With that, you have a problem of fitting everybody on the road, right? You got these country roads, you're up there, and the wrecks happen. People are nervous. They're taking extra, risks that they have. So, you're always concerned about that. And there you go. So let's go to the start list real quick. I should have done a preview show, but I didn't. So we'll highlight the top 2 teams here. Team UAE with Pogacar, João Almeida, who's, you could say on his own, he would be a top person for this race overall. Jonathan Narvaez, Niels Pollitt. Narvaez is kind of like your mid-climby guy, but not quite. Niels Pollitt's your roller on the front. Sivakov can go uphill well. So can Marc Soler. Tim Wellens, I think he just won the Belgian national road race. And then Adam Yates, who's been on the podium here at this race himself, riding for Pogacar, and obviously the twin brother of Simon Yates over here on Team Visma Lisa bike, and obviously very good as well. They've got Jonas Vingegaard. He's obviously, I keep saying obvious, he is the rider now, obviously projected to be the one for Team Lisa bike. He's their team leader. He's had some issues in the past. He had some health issues last year. He is coming in smoking hot, looking to do well. Eduardo Affini, a big guy on the flat stuff. Tish Benut, your classics rider. Same with Victor Campenaerts. Then we got Matteo Jorgensen, American protege. I mean, he's definitely made leaps and bounds last year. Once again, on the Netflix show, did not mention him at all, even though the one stage where he gets beat by Pogacar by 20 seconds, catches him within the last, kilometer or so, doesn't even mention. That's a frustrating thing about it. Sepp Kuss coming back. He missed the Tour last year due to sickness. We'll talk about him a little bit in this comparison. Wout, and then Simon Yates coming off of his Giro win. Those are the 2 big teams, but then you do have Evenepoel over here with Quick-Step, Soudal Quick-Step, classically a classics team. The north of France type, the Belgian. This should be perfect for them, and we'll see if it is. But he doesn't have as much help in the mountains. He's also splitting duties here with Tim Miller, who's a great sprinter. So then you got Valentin Parapentre and Max Schachmann, Ilian van Wilder. Those are some help in the mountains. Caneo could be as well, but I think his team is just much lower. And then the other person that is top 4 here is Primoz Roglic. Lipowitz just had a good Dauphiné, and so you're looking, is it going to be tough, splitting the duties with these guys? Jordi Meus, Gianni Moscon, we can talk about him a few years ago. I don't know if you guys remember, he had an issue. Maybe we'll talk about that in the comparison thing, because his name comes up. Lawrence Pithy, Mick Van Dijk, Danny Van Poppel, and Vlasov, who's going to help in the mountains, but definitely not as strong of a team. So let's get into it today with the breakdown. Here we go. We're going to look at this. I can't play the video because that's where we get in trouble. So we'll just clip through it here, and as I do, and we'll kind of break down the stage. So it starts up in Lille, it ends in Lille, and there's, some of your riders. There's your Philipsen, there's your Jonas Vingegaard. We're talking about the start. Here's the stage we're going to do. I do have there's the whole one. So they do a big loop out there. Come on back. They have, 4 climbs you're going to get over. Break gets up the road right away. Amrai goes up there. Here we are. Let's take a look here. I think we have the list of it. Rouge is up there. M. Lebert, Amaral, Benjamin Thomas, and Verscher. These 2 get into it because the break gets caught. They go up the first little climb. I think Benjamin Thomas, here we go. He ends up, there we go. They're going up the climb, and he ends up getting the first little bit. Filippo Ganna goes down with a nasty wreck. This is the problem you're going to concern yourself. You have the first race of the Tour, and who's going to be okay? He goes down and ends up withdrawing, so we didn't even get him. UAE takes control out there, 100K out. There does another break up. They did have a sprint here. It's really interesting because I didn't see it in any of the penalty stuff, but if you can kind of see here, Jesper Philipsen does take his hands off the bar, hits the Cofidis rider, Brian Coquard. Jonathan Milan takes all the points. This is a sprint point with 97 K to go. Should have been probably given a yellow card for that. They have a system now that they do. Anyway, Jonathan Milan takes the points there. Anyway, the break goes back up the road. There's some wind having havoc here. It doesn't really take effect. And then Jonas, for some reason, takes some bonus points over the top of the sprint. But what we're missing here is, let's see if we have it. Here we go. So these guys are going for this final, the mountains points for today. And they're going up there, and you turn onto a little bit of cobblestone. So here they're coming around. Now, this video here, it does not give it justice. And what happens actually before this is Tomas is holding off Verscher, and he actually has taken him into the barriers. With that in mind, this crash, spoiler here, it seemed a little worse than it actually probably was. But I didn't like the way, and I know Tomas, he's an Olympic gold medalist on the track, so he can handle his bike well. But these cobbles look like they're all for show. They're not the rough kind. They're a little bit rough, but they're really smooth. And this is what you have. Going over the finish here, and a big crash. I mean, good thing that the motorbike didn't get taken out, but that was pretty nasty. Okay, so once again, you got the groups are trying to split some things up here. By the way, Bessinger, he also crashed, and he's out of the race as well at this point. So is Johnny Moscon. So this is where things start to get interesting. The wind's coming up. Look at the road here. It's plenty wide. And as you can see, the wind is coming from our right, the rider's left. Therefore, the pinch point is over here, and they're going all the way to the left side of the road, which is giving everybody a chance. This echelon building its way back here, but at some point, these guys in the back here, they can't really do it, and they're not doing another echelon, but they're back pushing this on the end, and they're getting guttered, right? Remco, his team should be getting. There's a lot of if you're a big general classification rider, you should not be missing this. You should not be missing if there's a split that happens. Jonas goes to the front. Visma Lisabai goes to the front. Next thing you know, now you've got multiple echelons here, and it is on. And the people that missed it was Primoz Roglic, Remco, Jonathan Milan missed it with the whole Trek team. Our boy Quinn Simmons was up there in the red, white, and blue. They missed it, and it was Pogacar made it. Jonas made it. Jonas made it with Matteo Jorgensen and Tish Benoot. They had a few good riders up here. But the people that really made this race were Alpecin de Koenig with Jesper Philipsen, Caden Groves, who is a good sprinter on his own right. In this race, he is all about leading out Jesper Philipsen. Now, we saw last year, I think it was Meus or one of those guys for Wanty Goubert, that he was going to be the main sprinter. It didn't work out for him, and you had Gourmet come in. Boom, he ends up winning. Now the whole team switches to him. I don't think it was Jordi Meus. The whole team switches for him, and with that, he gets, 2 or 3 stage wins and the green jersey. So this race is on, and Alpecin de Koenig is up there. Like I said, Caden Groves is doing the lead out. So you've got Matthew van der Poel, Caden Groves, leading out Jesper Philipsen. Okay, that's a strong lead. And what I mean by that is Caden Groves in his own right. I think it was a few years ago, he won, I want to say 5 or 6 stages of the Vuelta. I mean, he was on a rampage. He could definitely sprint, but he could get up and over these hills. Actually, so can Jesper Philipsen. We've seen that at Milano San Remo. We've seen it in the classics. He does just fine. So he's a decent rider with a lot of punch, obviously. And then you've got Anthony van der Poel, who's been doing the bulk of the lead outs for him in the last few years. So having Caden Groves kind of be an additional filler, and then plus you get 5 guys of Alpecin de Koenig making this front. You've got a few here. Matteo Trentin made it up here for what's this team here? Anyway, with Julian Alaphilippe's team. Anyway, it was a pretty nasty little split, and it kept all the way. At one point, there was a little bit of a break here, but we're not going to really get ourselves into that. What we're going to do is get here to the last kilometer, and with that, you had a few guys over here. Let's back it up just a little bit. So Alpecin de Koenig comes in here, they peel off, and Matthew van der Poel had taken it from around 1 kilometer to go up to like 500 meters to go. You got Caden Groves hits the front hard, and at the time though, you can start to see these other guys over here on our right. They're going to we're going to make our own race of it. But they weren't going to be able to, because when Caden Groves hit the front, he immediately, he's a little bit behind whoever this guy is leading out here over on the right with the Astana rider. And you've got a Jayco Lula rider as well. And I think Trentin is over here behind Caden Groves trying to get in the mix. You got Gourmet taking the barriers. I was almost worried at one point Philipsen's going to push him into the barriers, which we've seen happen with Wout in the past and some bad stuff going on. But Philipsen was pretty straight on this one. Okay, he was about as straight as a guy in the corn-fed fields of Ohio. I don't know what I'm saying there. So he was perfectly fine. Gourmet had plenty of room to come about, but he couldn't come around, because even when he started to get level with him, that's when our Philipsen boy hit out hard, and man, did he ever. He took this thing by multiple bike lengths. I don't know, maybe we can see here. There's a shot from the side where he comes up, and you can see that there he takes it, you know, a few bike lengths. So it was pretty sweet. About 39 seconds back, about 39 seconds back, there we go. Something's happening here. You had the rest of the group come in. Jonathan Milan actually pulls the win out for that. But why? And so the big losers on the day. Another one that was a big loser on the day was Lenny Martinez. He was off the back. He had some serious trouble. It just didn't look so good. Let's see what we got here in the thing. We've got our people in here from our other side. Biking will be mentioned when Toad starts. I'm not going to deal with some of these people. Not going live in Rumble. I do have a Rumble channel. I'm trying to get it taken care of. There's a few little problems there, so we'll get that hammered out. But I appreciate the people that came in here that typically don't watch the cycling thing. I'm doing this every day of the Tour de France. We're going to do a breakdown of this. If you like cycling, if you don't like cycling, you want to come out and hang out in here, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so let's take a look now at the actual, let's go to this one here. And we'll take a look at the results today. And we'll get a little bit of a breakdown of the winners and losers as I see them. So obviously, we had Jesper Philipsen get the win here. Biniam Girmay in second. Warren Skold in third for Uno X Mobility. They were up there trying to do their best to fight it out. But you just had too many of the Alpecin guys. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'm just going to go... I'm going to sort this by Alpecin to Koenig here. So you had... they're are you kidding me? They all made the front. Philipsen, Groves, Vanderpoel, Reichert, Zando Mersu, Gianni Vermeersch, Emil Vestrin, and Sylvain Dillian all made it into the top. Well, that can't be right because he's 166. So I don't understand what it's doing here with the time bit on that. So we'll go back up here to all teams. But either way, they did. Also, Ben O'Connor ended up crashing in the last 5 kilometers. It was a nasty little crash. It wasn't his fault. It looked like Girmay came over and had a little bit of a hit and bumped elbows. And then you had, trying to remember the EF rider. We'll just do this right here with EF. Harry Sweeney, Asgreen, Valgren, Vandenberg. I think it was Vandenberg was up there. He came in 162, but that was with the crash. But then they should have given him the same time as everyone else. But some of that, so Jorgensen was up there in the front. We were good to see that. Pogacar, he didn't worry about the sprint. He's perfectly fine. All these guys up here in the top 34, they ended up making the front split. Wellens did as well. Enric Mas, good for him. That was really big for him, actually. You don't expect him to be making that split, but he definitely did. I don't know to see if there was any other movie star. Harry Sweeney for EF, Garcia, he helped then with Enric Mas. Sam Watson makes it up here for Ineos, which is confusing because Carlos Rodriguez misses the split. You also had Adam and Simon Yates both missing the split, losing like 6 minutes apiece. Sepkus misses it, but that's not important because you've got your main guy up there. But it is interesting to see that you would have an Ineos rider make it and not go back and help actually his Rodriguez. That's a little disturbing. You also saw guys sprinting at the end there with the Milan group when they're like, you could have been helping your rider. I think it was the kind of leading out Jonathan Milan for the Bora team. It's just like, what are you guys doing here? Get your shit together, get pulling in the front. And then you had the whole fact that Remco Evenepoel, his whole team, he misses the split. This is going to be detrimental for him when it comes into the next few stages. And I think because he's going to have more trouble catching the other two. Now, he's possibly, look, people were saying, oh, look what he did in the Dauphiné. And he ended up, just destroying them in the time trial. I'm like, okay, but what's he done in the Tour with the time trial when it's on? And something was weird about Pogacar. And I almost wonder if Jonas played a little game here of just, I think he's different than he was at the Dauphiné. We'll see. Let's take a look at this. This is today's stage, and we got a little thing for tomorrow, because I don't know if with this one tomorrow, it's got a little lumps to it. If Alpecin de Koenig is going to try, because Jesper Philipsen is now in the yellow jersey. If he's going to actually try to hold this thing to, as long as it could be 11 days here. Meaty says kilometer, aka communist gobbledygook. Kilometer. Okay, so I get it, but as someone who's raced and everything's just in kilometers, it's actually easier for me to understand distances at this point for bike racing and meters than miles and feet, and it doesn't work for me. So what do you do when you're inside a mile, right? Now cycling is like the last 500 meters, that's 250. That's where the sprinters. I mean, you understand that better, and then you have the Americanization. This isn't an American sport. I'm sorry to say, it's not. So we're gonna stay over there. Now I do have a problem with British units or actually the metric system. If you can't get time to work in tenths, then why are you doing everything else? But you know what? Here we are. So we're playing their game, and we're going to do what we can. So there's tomorrow's stage. I fully expect a breakaway to actually be able to make it up the road with some of these people that got left out today to get up there. Is it going to happen? I don't know. And is Philipsen going to be willing to his team to be willing to try to push the pace to keep everything in check, so he has another sprint, so he gets to keep the yellow jersey for as long as possible, because there's stage 2 and then here's stage 3. We'll just walk through some. I mean, that's a sprinter's day. You could see de Koenig doing everything they could to try to keep that yellow jersey as long as possible. Stage 4, there's some lumps at the end, some cat 3s, but I could see a Philipsen getting over. I could definitely see Matteo van der Poel getting over this stuff. So that team might be swapping jerseys between a few of them in the meantime. So until you come to stage 5, then you got the time trial. So Philipsen's not gonna hold it for stage 11. My problem on that, my apologies. He's really going to be talking about the first 4 stages, and I think they might be able to and want to do that, or at least keep it within the team until they're as best that they can. Let's see, did we have any of the other complimentary stuff? Like I said, Jonathan Milan won the points today. Benjamin Tomas, even though he crashed, he still got most of the mountain points, so he's going to be in the jersey there. Jesper Philipsen gets a win. He's going to get the green jersey. The white jersey goes to Gourmet. Actually, he's still under 26. And there you go. Okay. Fines, Elmer Reinders, irregular feeding. We had one for the team Jaco Lula as well. 2 irregular feedings, and then a failure to respect the instructions of the organizer. 500, 500, and 200 Swiss francs. So there you go. Once again, not US dollars. Grand Tour. Oh, this is just Geraint Thomas is doing his 21st tour. So is Nilson Oliveira. Or Grand Tours, not just the Tour de France. And yeah, it's kind of somewhat interesting there. Okay, so I'm going to play a quick interview here, but first what I wanted to play was this little tidbit. We'll play this on 1.25 and just give a little bit of a conversation.
George threw something in the mix, didn't he, producer George? Where he lined up Visma's current squad with Jonas headlining it, compared to the 2018 squad. He had Froome headlining that, which, to be honest, I was a bit like, mate, who won it in 18, son? But anyway, it was quite interesting, actually. You got the list in front of you.
Got it, mate, yeah.
Should we just go through it, like,
man for man?
Rider by rider, like, who would you take? So Jonas or Froome?
And let's be brutally honest here.
Yeah.
Like, that person in their prime versus that person in their prime, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Vingegaard or Froome?
I go Froome.
I go Froome. Right, and keep scores. So that's Sky 1.
And I'm going to make comments here because I have some problems with some of this. No, so what's interesting is, okay, so Froome, yes, prime Froome, fine. But you've got Jonas, who's won 2 tours, and he's had to go against Pogacar in them as well. And Pogacar has won 2 or 3 now. So, I don't know that I would necessarily just hand it over to Froome, okay? And why? I wish they would give it a little understanding why. And I just think that the 2 of these guys, like I said, let's wait and see. If Vingegaard, as an example, wins this race, this tour, I'm going to say no, it's on him. Now, has Jonas won anything else? Like Froome won the Vuelta, he won the Giro. No, but his career has taken a longer turn, and now he's like nothing compared to Jonas, who's still quite young. So I wish they would explain that a little bit, and I get it, but I actually think climbing times the way they are now, I think that Prime Froome would have a lot of trouble staying with Jonas and Pogacar. I just think so.
1, Jumbo, 0. Yates versus G.
I'd go myself, mate.
I'd go yourself. The reason being, you would do Yates is very one. Well, you've won the Tour. Fuck, move on.
Well, okay, but Yates won the Vuelta and he just won the Giro. So, and I'm just going to cap on these guys for a little bit here because I want to see how Yates does in this support role. As an example, his brother, hasn't had the wins that he has, but he went top 3 in the Tour a few years ago to helping Pogacar. So, if that's the kind of stuff, and we're going to see that from Simon, maybe
Sepp Kuss versus Bernal.
I stick with Bernal. Egan.
Why?
Mate, he's won the Tour. He's won the Giro.
He's won the Tour.
So, like, Kuss is a great, domestic in the mountains, but Egan, mate. No.
Okay, but my problem here is we are trying to actually look at the supporting roles. If you had the two, you have Jonas and you had Froome. At this point, you're talking about, and this is such a useless, it's a futile discussion, but I'm doing it anyway. You have to now say these other riders are support riders. Okay, Geraint is a support rider. Kuss, Bernal, Bernal won the Giro. You know what though? How many wins has the Visma done under Sepp Kuss? He was the prime person. Last year was the first time they'd gone to one of these and they didn't win, and he wasn't there, right? They've won the Vuelta multiple times. They've won the Giro. Matter of fact, they won the Giro over you, Geraint Thomas, specifically because of Sepp Kuss. That was the one, two years ago? So this year, last year, yeah, and you were third place or second place, beat the last day by Primož Roglic, but stage 18 and 19, I think it was 19 specifically, which Roglic got in trouble. And he sat on Sepp Kuss, pulled him for 5+ kilometers up to the last climb, bringing him back into contention, solely saving the day. So this has happened over and over and over and over. What has Bernal done with that? I mean, especially in 2018. I don't know that. I know Bernal's won 2 races, but has he been the teammate? We're not looking at, can you stack your team with a bunch of leaders? You're actually looking at support role here. At least that would be my intention.
I'll argue with that for me.
Agreed. Now, this is where I would give Jumbo a point. And it's a hard one. Wout van Aert versus Kwiato.
It is hard, but it's also easy, isn't it? I look at the way Van Aert's ridden in the last couple of tours, like especially that, when was it, 21?
21, yeah.
Like, 22 as well. Like, it's just insane, mate. Like,
yeah. So, but we'll still win by 3-1. Jorgen.
I actually think that's a tough one because although Wout is been great teammate, I mean Kwiato has been phenomenal teammate. So it's actually, I don't know that it's as easy to go off of that one.
Especially that, when was it, 21?
21, yeah.
Like, 22 as well. Like, it's just insane, mate. Like,
yeah. So, but we'll still win by 3-1. Jorgensen Pools. Ooh, Wout Pools versus Matej Jorgensen.
For me, I think I've got to go with Matteo just because I feel like he's a bit more versatile. Like, Wout.
And this is interesting as well. Like, I'm actually more of a Matteo fan here, but Wout Poels was an amazing teammate, and we don't know. I mean, Matteo was his first one last year that he really had to put out, team performance. He was otherwise, he was with the Movistar before then. He gets beat up the Puy de Dôme, and he's a transformed rider. And so we need to actually see after this race if this is worth him, if he actually is. But Wout Poels, Vuelta, Tour, he's been completely solid back in the day. He's not the rider he used to be, but this is kind of the comparison. So I don't know if I would actually take prime Wout over what we know of Matteo right now. If we're going to say later on, perhaps.
It was incredible in that tour. For me, like in that last week in the mountains, he was consistent, whatever. But I think Matteo was just a bit more versatile, still climbing really well. If it was purely climbing, I think you'd go with Wout, but I think Matteo, like, slightly bigger all round.
No, I agree. I think over 3 weeks you have to add everywhere, and how amazing Wout was, and for sure he saved us a few sticky moments in the mountains in the third week. Jorgensen is really a complete package, isn't he? So I have to agree on that.
Victor Campenaerts or Castro? I'll go Castro. Yeah. just
Yeah.
climbs a bit better, doesn't he? Campenaerts would be a character to have around, though, wouldn't he?
And I don't really know that Campenaerts has done much from a team perspective. Now he has with his own the Lotto team before, but it'll be an interesting. Once again, this is why I'm like, this is premature. What if Campenaerts comes into this race and he does some amazing shit for Jonas? Then you're gonna rewrite this whole thing. So once again, it's premature, but whatever.
I don't know. I think you just do my head in after a few weeks. He's too mad.
Maybe.
We're winning 4-2. We're winning 4-2.
Affini or you?
I think Affini's got more broad. Like, he's stronger. If you're just like riding the wind and off you go. But I think so in other races he'd be of more value. But in the Tour, I think you got to be quite smart to get through the race itself. Fuck him, I'm backing myself, mate.
Yeah, no, I'd agree, to be honest, mate. I think engine-wise, he's probably stronger.
Luke Rowe, as an example, he would have helped whomever needed it today to be in the right position. Carlos Rodriguez, Garrett's backing himself, but he didn't help his guy make the split today. So whatever.
And he's stronger as well, let's be honest. But I think,
like when it comes to crosswinds and just like positioning, and I think which is just as more important really. Sometimes I think it's I'll go with you, mate. Tiege Benuta or Gianni Moscon?
I go Tiege.
Yeah, me too. I think but when you think of Moscon in that period, he was going, like, but Tiege is just always there. He's so consistent. You look at classics every year, he's got a top 10 somewhere, and he's always there, and he's always riding well, like from February to October, and then especially you can just count on him in the Tour, can't you? And Moscon is just a bit more unpredictable. So
I think when Gianni was good, he was really good, and when he was bad, he was quite bad.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree with that one. And maybe they're arguing, because look, he got kicked out of the Tour that one year for throwing a bottle at a guy and then having racist remarks. So is he all that bad? I don't know about that. Okay, so I think that's all we've got for today. I appreciate you guys joining in here. We're going to keep breaking these down. Oh, I did have an interview. Let's do one interview, and it is with Geraint Thomas, but we'll play it here.
Stopped last year, to be honest. It was just as expected, stressful, and street furniture, chaotic, whatever. And big shame to lose Pipo as well halfway through the stage. I saw the crash, and he didn't look too bad, but obviously gave his head a knock, and I think it was a bit of a concussion call, which is obviously the right thing, but it's a big shame to lose him so early.
A huge shame. I just saw your little boy giving you a little gift there. What have we got? Special moment, a family moment here.
He's got some stickers, I think, but I don't think you can blag them. I know you're blagging everything, aren't you, in the Giro?
Of course we are.
So, no, it's great to have him out. It's going to be over soon, so at least he's old enough to start to remember it. So, nice to have the family here.
Can you enjoy it at least as well?
Hopefully when I get to Paris, but it's hard to enjoy a stage like that. But now it's nice to get through it unscathed. But there'll be nicer stages to come, I'm sure.
We've got a question from Adam Blythe in the studio. Are you focusing on any particular stage during this Tour de France? Have you got one that's pinpointed?
Not one specifically, to be honest. I think there's a bunch of them, really. I'm just trying to ride aggressively the whole way through, really, and just take every stage as it comes.
Brilliant, legend.
Thank you.
Loving your podcast, G.
I will say this, because it did remind me, and I've been bashing Ineos for not having Carlos up there, but then in his own podcast, Geraint Thomas mentions how that's not really, at least with him, that's not really the prime focus, that maybe even Carlos gets some stage wins and stuff. So maybe him losing some time today was planned, and they're going to be a little different. I don't know. I hope you guys have Victor says, hope you have a good holiday. I did. I hope you do as well. I hope everyone has had a good 4th of July. Tyler admitting he is better with European measurements right after the 4th. Interesting. Yes, I'm not a true American. No, I mean, just with bike racing, literally, that's the only one with bike racing. I mean, I could do a quick calculation, miles and stuff. They just take your kilometers and multiply it by 0.62, and you've got that. Then there's easy ways you can figure out to do that. But anyway, there you go. So bike racing stage 1 is over. Who am I predicting for stage 2 tomorrow? I think it might be actually come down to a sprint, and you're looking at Jonathan Milan, or a breakaway is going to go away. But I really think up until and then Namir Britannia is coming up pretty soon as well. That's going to be interesting, and I think that's all peaking up here for someone like Matteo Van der Poel. It'll be really interesting to see if Wout van Aert if his emphasis is going to be on to take some of these stages, or if he even gets in the sprint, or he just says, nope, not for me, and I'm just doing team stuff, will be interesting. And my most interesting, the issue I'm most interested in is how Sepp Kuss is going to do. Because as I just mentioned, I've gone back and watched, the Giros, like I mentioned, the Vueltas, the tours where he is just the only person left, or he and Jonas, and he is doing the tons of work over and over, saving his team, the leaders as they need to be done. And it's been fantastic. And then last year, he wins the Vuelta 2 years ago, and then last year has trouble misses the tour, isn't quite there for the Vuelta, really shaky and disappointment, and you really haven't seen much of him since. He did win a stage of a random race right before the Vuelta last year, but we haven't really seen much. So I will be interested to see how this. Let's come back here again tomorrow. We will watch the race. We'll come back and do a little analysis, and we'll keep trying to do these every day for the Giro, for the tour as much as possible, just like we always do. I appreciate everybody coming in here today. And with that, I think we're going to be heading out. See ya.